In the wake of an outbreak of Ebola, a fatal shooting in Missouri, a hitchhiking robot, and more, we head once again into the multiverse with Judd and Noah.
Alright, I'm Noah,
And I'm Judd.
and right now this is our first time doing this. This is Into the Multiverse, or as you call it, Multiverse.
That's how it's pronounced. But you can call it whatever you want.
By the way, you're going to...
That's Ian, our skeleton in the closet, on this episode.
Ian.
Ian.
You want to get closer to the mic?
Can you hear me now? Guys, can you hear me now?
I don't think...
This is live, right? Is this live? Do we have people watching this right now?
Yes, of course this is live.
Ian is watching us right now. Ian, say hi.
Hi.
Ian, you will be representing Twitter in this podcast.
Alright.
Ian's Twitch.
Give us Jaden...
Get tricked.
Give us Jaden Smith quotes.
Hold on, I have to go up to Jaden Smith.
Oh, jeez. So, welcome to the first episode of Into the Multiverse. It's us, the two high school guys from Atlanta, Georgia, talking about news.
What about me?
You're the skeleton. You're not supposed to talk. You're
Yeah.
supposed to clink around.
Yeah, Ian is the skeleton in the closet.
Scary skeleton.
Every episode has a skeleton in the closet who's the guy who's not actually on mic, but he is gonna be in the room, and he's gonna look stuff up for us. That's why we call him the skeleton.
We should call him the intern, but intern and skeleton go hand in hand.
Of course, he's the intern in our closet, because everybody knows, where do you put an intern when you're not using him?
In your closet.
In a bag.
In a bag in your closet. In the bathroom. The bathroom closet. Do
Okay.
they still have those?
Do they still have That's a good question.
They used to... Now we just have, like, under the sink.
My
right?
mother has a closet in her bathroom, but I don't. There's no bathroom in mine. I think like half baths. You know what a half bath is? Like a small bathroom. I don't think those have closets in them. But I think if you have like a walk-in bathroom, like a bathroom you can walk in and like towel down in, like a big bathroom, I think those have closets in
There's
them.
a bathroom upstairs in the master room where it's just got a really long... It's a really long restroom. The weird thing is half of the restroom has, tile floors, but the other half is carpet. And the carpet is at the area where you wash your hands.
You know you're 1% if there's carpet where you're washing your hands. No, I'm just kidding. That's not true, guys. That's not true.
There's no closet in the actual master bedroom. It's in the bathroom.
The skeleton in our closet has just produced some quotes by Jaden Smith that he got from YouTube. I mean, not YouTube,
Our skeleton
Twitter.
in the closet is Jaden Smith.
Yes,
he produced them.
Interesting fact. Wait, Jaden Smith is on set right now. Say hi, Jaden Smith.
He's just kidding.
Yeah, no, we don't know Jaden Smith.
All right, so
Let's see. At Rob Kardashian, at official Jaden, 3 men, 6 options, don't choose. 6 men, at least someone gets me. I don't even know what that's saying.
orgy.
What about orgy?
That's 6 men, 5 guys.
I don't think that's... Green,
Peanuts?
white, and blue makes dreams come true. Yes, that I agree with. What about Nihya Convention?
Do you think Jaden Smith's gonna file a copyright against us?
I bet he is. One of his tweets just says pay attention, because apparently people weren't doing that enough.
I want to make this clear. We are not reading these tweets because we support Jaden Smith.
But we're not exactly claiming that we don't. I mean, I'm sure he's a fine person.
But he's a shit actor.
Yeah, he is, actually. Jaden Smith, God bless you, but you can't act.
He just sneezed right now.
Give it to your dad.
You look like the kind of fellow who might play basketball or play football.
That's racist.
Or play basketball.
Hey, shut up.
Football.
I kind of feel that people can't hear Ian from the microphone, so we're just like gonna laugh at random things that the skeleton says. That was a funny joke, skeleton.
What if they can hear them?
Jealousy just reassures your love. That's not true at all.
Yes, then you can kill your spouse. That will reassure it.
Yep, absolutely. The moment that truth is organized, it becomes a lie. Wait, is that a Lenin quote? Is Jaden Smith plagiarizing Vladimir Lenin?
Well, we're plagiarizing him, so I can't blame him.
We're not plagiarizing him. He's putting that over.
One of Jaden Smith's tweets is just Bud, B-U-D-H. Does anybody know what that means?
Maybe he meant to say Buddha.
I think that's like a secret message. Holy shit.
you can't say that on Into the Multiverse. It's not allowed.
Well, maybe they didn't hear him. What do you do?
Get fabulized.
Please stop that. Okay, for those who can't, everybody who's listening who can't see it, he's holding some sort of Disney princess wand with a little light up thing at the top,
Pegasus?
light up crystal.
That's gorgeous. That's gorgeous, Ian.
Yeah,
I know.
and then he's saying butt fuck.
No, I'm not.
Here's the deal. We can all follow Christ, Buddha, Krishna, you choose, or we can become them. And that's very poorly. You know what? I think that's fine.
Why does
Or
he
we can
capital-
become
Wait,
them.
why does he capitalize
I am
like,
Jesus.
That's a really good question. Why does he capitalize everything? Jaden Smith, if you're listening,
Which he isn't.
tweet why you tweet everything in capital letters.
Tweet why you tweet everything in capital letters in capital letters.
At Mr. Dutyhead, your passion for hating me is the same passion I have for SAC geometry and maglev technology, and any passion is to be respected.
I don't think it's... Ian, can you please stop that?
Water in the eyes and alcohol in the eyes are pretty much the same. I know this from first-hand experience.
Yes.
I
He
think had
was
experience.
he was drinking some booze and he got it in his eyes. Obviously.
School equals depression. Learning plus creation equals happiness. Happiness equals art. Art equals intelligence. Intelligence equals rebellion. And rebellion is bad for the...
Is there nothing after that?
There's nothing after that.
Is he asking his limited fan base to complete it?
It's not limited. His fan base is in no way limited. Look at all this. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, 10 people.
That's more than 10
His
people.
official fan base.
Fine. Okay, that's enough Jaden Smith. I promise you, Into the Multiverse will have much less Jaden Smith, but it will have no...
Take back my phone.
It will definitely have plenty of Richard Nixon. If you guys go on Amazon, you can... Which most of our information comes from Amazon.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Amazon has a great news category. It actually doesn't. I made that up.
We'll talk
But it
about
might as well.
We'll talk about the bear later.
Oh,
Canadian bestseller.
yes, we got to talk about the bear. But first of all, there is a book on Amazon called Richard Nixon's Guide to the Multiverse. And the caption is, "This book is not a crook," which I think is fantastic.
We are in no way supporters of Richard Nixon. We just brought this up because we don't want our title to be associated with being a crook.
But, you know, if we were associated with Richard Nixon, would there be anything wrong with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Then we're not.
Been raped.
God forbid there be anything wrong with this podcast on the first episode.
Yeah. Jeez,
Do you guys
Judd,
mind
it's all
if-
your fault.
do you
I
guys
can't
mind
believe you
if-
brought up Richard Nixon even though I told you to.
Do you guys mind if I just kind of sit behind you and watch you as you do this?
No, that's fine, Ian.
Ian is for those who can't hear him, Ian is currently sitting behind us, watching us. He's not actually sitting.
Hey, Ian.
This is getting a bit difficult for us. It's
I'm
scary.
a skeleton.
Okay,
The closet's right behind
so
us.
before we actually get started with the conversation about news, because we did promise that
We would talk about news. We did promise that. I swear, we promised it at one point.
and we will. But before that, we feel the need to have a sort of a disclaimer. Into the Multiverse is a largely opinionated show, rife with personal opinion and interpretation. We do not only say facts.
Hello, Judd. We're speaking into one mic right now, so it's a bit awkward. We're very close.
Just a little.
You couldn't even finish your sentence.
We don't only share facts, we share opinions. This is a news show of opinion and commentary and interpretation. We will share philosophical beliefs. We will share pragmatic beliefs. We will share ridiculous beliefs.
We will share STDs.
No, we won't. Why do you have to... Actually, no, we do have a segment today about STDs, but we'll get to that.
It'll be very small.
Yeah, we promise. But on every episode, we like to do something that we call Spark a Conversation.
This is our first episode, so we might scrap this.
But for now, at least, we are going to spark a conversation where we will... we'll do exactly what it sounds like. We're gonna spark a conversation. We're just gonna, start a conversation about things, about news, about current events, about what's going on. So, today's spark a conversation is about healthcare in the United States.
Yeah, and then versus healthcare in Canada, which could have saved Walter White.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that too.
Alright, so...
Not Walter White, though. We happen to both be huge fans of Breaking Bad, but We're
We'll
not
we'll
talking.
have a podcast about that later.
I'm sure we'll have a podcast about nothing but Breaking Bad one of these days.
And then we'll just be talking about how Better Call Saul better be good.
It better be good.
Better Call Saul better be good.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So Noah, you I'm really nervous that people aren't going to be able to hear us because this microphone is really bad. Noah, you have a little something prepared about the AIDS HIV crisis.
Yeah, I have something prepared about where it came from, and if I can find it in here, there we go. I don't. It's in. All right, here we are. I have it open twice. Okay, so this guy. Can you pronounce his name?
That's let's see. I don't know if I can.
Okay, so
it's Swedish. It's I believe
it's-
Gaetan Dugas. Gaetan.
I believe
Go
it's
ahead.
actually French because he's from Quebec. Anyway,
Oh, he's from. Oh, yeah, he is.
Gaetan
It looks Swedish.
Dugas, worked as a flight attendant for. Give me a second. I believe it was Canadian. It was one. It's a Canadian flight service. So he worked for them. And while this was
Air Canada.
happening-
He was a flight attendant for Air Canada.
And while this was happening, the CDC was trying to look into where AIDS was coming from because all of a sudden it was popping up in different countries at different times, and they couldn't understand what was happening. They traced it back to a bunch of flights that he had been on, and apparently he had been having gay unprotected sex in multiple areas, which caused AIDS to spread rapidly. A lot of people do believe that he may have been patient zero, if I'm correct in that assumption.
Now, a question that you can't talk about patient zero for AIDS because people have talked about patient zero before. There have been a lot of theories. There's been a lot of talk about who patient zero was and how AIDS, the epidemic of AIDS, got started. You cannot talk about patient zero for AIDS without mentioning the fact that yes, AIDS was largely a disease contained to homosexuals for a while, not forever, and certainly not now, but for a while it was a homosexual disease, and a lot of people misunderstood it as a lifestyle disease, not as a, as an actual disease that anyone could catch.
I was reading up on it, and apparently its first name or nickname was called gay cancer.
Which is terrible. So the question becomes, is the reason HIV and AIDS is so common, or rather, just so rapidly spread, can that be faulted to homosexuality? I mean, is this going to become a concern of lifestyle?
I wouldn't say so, and I'm sure these are questions that have been asked and answered by other people before.
Well, I'm sure.
I would say though that you can't if people are starving, and maybe this is a bit of a crude example, but if people are starving over in Africa and it's because they're working a bad job, you can't say that that's a lifestyle. You can't say that it's their fault because their lifestyle they're living. Maybe if they worked very hard and put their life on the line or put their family on the line, they could get a better job, but the fact of the matter is you can't blame them because they're not willing to sacrifice everything.
I definitely agree, and I think that the spread of AIDS, you can't point it at illicit, or not illicit. I'm sorry, that was a slip. You can't point at unprotected gay sex, and you can't point at it and say, well, that's the cause of AIDS right there. We got to put a stop to that, because it's really not even homosexuality that you can blame this spread on.
I was looking at something recently, and it had a bunch of misinterpreted facts and things that are wrong that people sometimes say, or I agreed with almost all of it. And one of the things it said was gay is not an insult. Gay shouldn't be an insult or used as an insult. Yet some people, and I hear this all the time, use it all the time, and I don't think worse of those people. So has it just become a common insult, even though it's like a double meaning?
I totally know what you mean, and I definitely think that it's very crude to use the phrase gay as, a lot of people use it as a synonym for stupid or a synonym for dumb or weird, and I definitely think that that's rather inappropriate, but it's just so colloquial that you really, if somebody uses the phrase gay as an insult, it's no longer them actually talking about homosexuality technically. Am I fading?
They're not going to be able to respond to us. Maybe Ian can respond to us. Skeleton in the closet.
What?
I'm just asking questions that people are probably going to answer at a later date, but I am worried about this mic right now.
If anybody watches.
Yeah, that's a good point. If anybody is watching this, get the word out. Talk to friends and say, hey, there's this really terrible podcast that you guys should all listen to because it's great.
Yeah, make fun of us.
Yeah.
Talk about how stupid we are. That's fine.
Have podcasts about how much you hate our podcast.
Then maybe you'll get even more famous than we will.
And Skeleton says, and maybe you'll get more famous than we will. Then again, if you actually heard what he said, then I just repeated it. But that's fine.
And stop repeating things.
Stop repeating things,
Stop
Noah.
copying me.
We are very professional here on Into the Multiverse.
By the way, our skeleton in the closet is currently playing Dark Souls.
Get wrecked!
Are you playing Dark Souls or Dark Souls 2?
There's no difference.
He's playing the first one, and it's kind of distracting. Do we want to move on now?
We were talking about how AIDS has spread across the world, not the least of which the reason is because the potential patient zero was a flight attendant who traveled a lot
I'm sure he was a good guy.
One place that AIDS has become a major like a major fever pitch it's reached a major fever pitch. One day I'll talk right, I promise.
Yeah.
Is in Africa. And the sad thing is that AIDS is by no means the only disease concern that Africa is having right now. Many of you probably know that Africa is experiencing an enormous Ebola crisis at this moment in time.
Did you also hear that the 2 patients here in Atlanta that were diagnosed with Ebola, they finally got released?
Yes, they were discharged They were discharged a couple of days ago.
It was like on Thursday.
It was Thursday, according to our skeleton in the closet, and he was, so what I'm not quite. They were discharged because they were considered, to be
Well.
Yes. So, does that mean that they were cured? Because my understanding is that that's a very rare occurrence. Granted, we are America.
Maybe
so.
it's just because of the whole outbreak, it could have. Here I can try and pull it up, but it could have been a false alarm, just very similar symptoms. It strikes very fast.
It does, yes. Ebola is a very quick striking disease. It's transmitted through fluids, and it kills by dehydrating, and it kills by causing vomiting and diarrhea that causes the body to eliminate its fluids. Am I correct in that? That diagnosis?
I believe so, and if we are wrong, and I'm sure that at one point or at very many points in this podcast we will be wrong about something.
Absolutely.
Feel free to correct us.
Absolutely. In fact, we encourage it because with each time you correct us, we are wrong that many times fewer.
All right.
They're American aid workers who contracted Ebola while working in West Africa have been discharged from an Atlanta hospital. They have been determined by the medical officials that they are recovered and are not contagious any longer.
And I would like to say that we are reading this from an article. We do not own those words that we just said right there.
I paraphrased, don't worry.
Alright, so apparently...
Interesting fact, we actually live right next to this area. Emory Hospital and the CDC Center, we live, in that same neighborhood. We live in Atlanta, Georgia.
We live like 30 minutes or something from that.
That's that neighborhood. Yeah, we live 30 minutes or so from that area, which is pretty neat.
Apparently one of them was Dr. Kent Brantley, and the other one was...
I've actually... Kent Brantley and Nancy Wrightball. I've heard both those names.
Probably from here.
Well, yeah, I can't remember for sure.
Look at that guy.
Apparently we're looking at something right now.
I'm
you can
not.
keep
I'm
going.
going to keep talking. So the World Health Organization admits that the full scope of the Ebola outbreak can't really be captured by statistics. They're saying that either through problems in countries releasing statistics about Ebola deaths or through several barriers to information, the statistics that the World Health Organization currently acknowledges as statistics for the disease are probably a lot smaller than the actual scope of the disease.
I'm going to have our skeleton in the closet, and he can hear us right now. I want him to look up basically how Ebola is transmitted, just to fact check us.
Yes, please check Ebola and its transmission and how it kills people. And while he's doing that, the World Health Organization has said that in addition to working on the cure, on working to get cure out into Africa, cure for Ebola, there's also conversation about how education is very, very key because Ebola is striking in rural places in West Africa. It's education, disease education is clearly very, very rare in these areas. There's superstition abounding. In certain neighborhoods, some rural natives believe that by eating a certain kind of nut that can be found in West Africa, Ebola can be prevented or cured, which is by far not true. So education is clearly a factor here.
Well, then we get into the conversation about third world countries and how they're not properly educated. Apparently, we have our skeleton in the closet right now with information on
Okay,
on
where are we
Ebola.
quoting from? Oh, Wikipedia.
They obviously have best information.
Symptoms start 2 to 3 weeks after contracting the virus with a fever, sore throat, muscle pain, and headaches. Typically, vomiting, diarrhea, and rash follow, along with decreased functioning of the liver and kidneys. Around this time, affected people may begin to bleed both within the body and externally. The virus may be acquired upon contact with blood or bodily fluids of an infected animal. Spreading through the air has not been documented in the natural environment. Fruit bats are believed to carry and spread the virus without being affected.
So without being affected,
And apparently male survivors are able to transmit the disease sexually as well.
So the virus has. Would you say that the virus has adapted in order to be transmitted by the bats?
That's a good question. I can't begin to know anything about fruit bat biology, so I'm not able to speak intelligently about why fruit bats are able to transmit Ebola without being affected. But I do wonder if there are certain records of diseases in history being transmitted by creatures without those creatures dying from the disease as a method of transmission. So that's certainly a possible evolutionary adaptation of Ebola, which would be very, very scary.
Bats are kind of weird. They're flying rat mammals. That's basically what they are, right?
Absolutely, they're flying rats. I mean, that's all they are.
So-
Don't let any science teacher tell you differently. They're nothing but flying rats.
Yes, don't let the PhD doctor teacher tell you that they are not flying rats.
Trust into the multiverse. We've got PhDs.
So
We printed them out before we started.
bats could be characterized, since they transmit diseases, as vermin, such as, many other rodents. Rats transmit very many diseases without being affected by them. So could this be genetic similarity?
Like I said, don't quote me on this because I am in no way a bat scientist, but that's very, very, very possible. I mean, they're both mammals. Let's start there. They're both mammals. But bats are not rodents, I don't believe. I believe they're in their own class, if I'm not mistaken. If you want to fact check me on that, Noah.
Actually, we can have
Our skeleton.
the skeleton in the closet fact check us, please.
Are bats rodents? I mean, they're
guys
not.
are wrong.
They're not rodents. I know they're not rodents. But what are they?
If they're not rodents, they're very similar.
I know they're not rodents. I'm gonna be very, very surprised if bats are rodents.
Hello, podcast.
We have our skeleton.
That's Ian.
Ian is right here. He's sitting in the wheelchair. We have a wheelchair on, I guess we could technically call it on set, quotation marks. We have a wheelchair.
By set, we mean basement.
We we also have a TV that the stand under it broke. I don't even know if it works anymore.
That's a TV.
Yes, that is a TV.
Oh, jeez.
I want to use it as a monitor.
That'd be nice.
We could talking about
so-
renovations to our set.
You guys are Yeah, I guess you could say you're right. They're classified as mammals, but they are like subspecies.
Let's see. They're in the order Chiroptera.
Is that like Velociraptor?
No, that's not at all.
Jurassic Park Bats edition.
Shut up. my
Jurassic
mom
Park
died
was a
doing
good book. Have you ever read it?
I actually haven't.
I've got it upstairs. I can lend it.
They
to
are
you.
in an infraclass, which is a organizational tier above class. And they are apparently this infraclass also contains a class to which marsupials belong. So they are somewhat related to marsupials. But no word yet on their relation to rodents, but it certainly could be a genetic similarity.
Here.
But don't jump to conclusions in that regard because
Oi, skeleton! Here's your phone. We've got a computer right next to us. and
rats
we're
have
making
not
a
been known to transmit
skeleton.
Ebola without being effective. So we don't have word yet on why bats can transmit Ebola without dying. We'll find that out one of these days.
Yes.
If there are any biologists or bat enthusiasts listening, let us know. Why is it that bats transmit Ebola without being, affected?
I guess we're going to go to Yahoo Answers for this
We're
one.
not going to Yahoo Answers. One of these days.
Look at this question. Is a bat not classified? Is a bat classed as a bird or a rodent?
Both. It's a bird rodent.
Bird.
Actually, that's a definition of a bat.
Bird rodents.
Okay, so that leads seamlessly, and by seamlessly I mean with many seams. In our conversation about healthcare, we also feel it necessary. We are American citizens, as we said. We live in Atlanta, Georgia, home of American health,
Peaches.
home of Coca-Cola, and of American healthcare as we know it.
And CNN.
Coke.
Yeah, we have lots of things in Atlanta, Georgia, but one of those things is something that is one of those things that we don't have. That is really lacking in America in general is healthcare for the mentally disabled. Now, this is an extremely controversial topic because healthcare for the mentally disabled has been famously or infamously absent in America for a long time, since like the 1950s. And why? Why is it that you think it is, Noah?
Because America is obviously a large country, and we can't go around checking everybody. So I feel that the reason that we don't have it yet is probably because so many people can bullshit the system and pretend that they're disabled to try and scam money from the government. We don't
No,
have.
They do like a test like.
Yeah, but they
when
can't.
They
Don't always do it.
before you're born.
They don't always do it effectively. Like what I think this is more prevalent in unemployed, where some people will try and live off of the unemployed payment even though they could be employed. They could be employed at the time.
Absolutely. I've heard that story time and time again that yes, people live off of unemployment despite their ability to be employed simply because in certain cases, not all cases, but in certain cases unemployment can give you more money or afford you better conditions than being employed can.
Dude, I'm gonna
Do you
go
think-
and buy some lobster with my food stamps.
If you can't hear him, we don't know if you can hear him or not. He said that he's going to go buy some lobster with his food stamps.
That'll get you far in life, Ian.
I know it will because my mother works at Costco and people do that like every day.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Crab legs and lobster.
That's incredible. But we're not talking about unemployed right now. We're talking about mentally disabled, and you're on the right track, Noah.
I need you to tell me that I'm on the right track.
Well, the thing is, I did research about this, and you are largely right, but you're going in the wrong direction. It's not that people bullshit their way into being considered mentally ill, but rather the opposite. Law enforcement is not able to tell that every single criminal or every single, misdemeanor perpetrator is mentally disabled. When somebody, lights their bed when somebody drags their bed out into their front yard and lights it on fire, as
Should
just
be in the South.
an example.
Keep
Thanks,
going.
Ian. Law enforcement isn't able to tell that this person is mentally disabled. They might just say that this person is aggressive. They don't have the technology, or not even the technology, they don't have the discretion to tell that this person is mentally ill. So a lot of mentally ill people end up in prison just by misinterpretation of their disability.
Well, problems with healthcare. All of the problems.
In the 1950s, Medicaid, there's a clause added in the 1950s to Medicaid that mental illness, that hospitals have to be minimally funded for research and service to mentally ill patients because, and I'm quoting from an article from the 1950s, I'm quoting that mentally ill funding for mentally ill research was considered a black hole for money. It was such a nebulous topic. It was something that people didn't understand enough that putting money into it would be a waste of time. And that stigma has carried on for near on 60 years.
That's kind of a paradox, though, because you're saying that because we don't know enough about it, we shouldn't put money in it, but if you put money in it, then you'll know more about it.
They didn't know that at the time. It was just something that was so... I mean, it was such like a character flaw. People didn't understand the genetic nature of mental illness, and it was a character flaw. People thought if you were a schizophrenic, it was because you were a bad person, not because you were diseased. And that same problem has stayed on paper for a very long time.
A lot of behaviors are genetic. Have you heard about over in Russia, back in the 50s when it was still the Soviet Union, I believe it was the 50s, they were trying to domesticate silver foxes.
I heard about that. Yes, I did, and they...
Talked about that over dinner.
Yeah, so I've mentioned it probably a lot because I'm a big fan of it.
I'm a big fan of the Soviet Union.
Not the Soviet Union. Foxes being domesticated. I think it's very interesting. I'll tell it.
I was a big fox person.
Even though I've met one species of fox,
and it was fantastic.
It was an asshole. It was one of those Finnick foxes. It was one of my parents' coworkers back like 4 or 5 years ago.
Had a pet fennec fox.
Yes, and they kept it in a cage the whole time. It was although this won't matter at all, but it was a gay couple, and they
feel it necessary to mention that.
Yeah, Dick.
I thought it was interesting, and we watched Men in Black all the time over there. I have no idea why, but it's
were they gay or lesbian?
They were gay.
Okay.
Very curious right here.
Hey, we gotta know. We are, in the interest of full disclosure, over here
Alright,
into
so
the multiverse.
They have this Finnick fox, and they keep it in a cage, and I don't remember what much, but you would pass by it, and that thing would just... It was so annoying. I was ready to go through the cage.
Well, what you don't know is all foxes are bitches. So it wasn't just that fennec fox. Foxes are asses, guys. You heard it here first. We are fox racists.
What gender is it? Bitch.
But to go back on topic, mental disability is a genetic thing that really, I mean, we do need to afford more research towards it and more healthcare towards it, because that sort of, I mean, America is an extremely diverse, both, ethnically and mentally and religiously and economically diverse, and very economically advanced, we'll say, nation. And so there's really no excuse for us to still be holding, old stigmas. That's what we'll say.
Well, we do. If we put more money in it, I don't think people understand that we'll need to. When it's put more money in it, we need to find out, like, how to proof check it before.
Absolutely, but it's clearly something that needs to be addressed. Okay, so this next segment is something that I have affectionately called Multiversal Ooze, where we're just going to talk about stupid news.
Ooze.
Okay, so, Noah, to kick off this episode of Multiversal Ooze, I am going to play a game that I like to call the Into the Multiverse News Quiz.
Yay! I get to do a quiz outside of school.
It'll be fun, I promise.
Oh, that's what they all say.
So, so I'm gonna give you. Hey, skeleton, Ian, can you please fetch me a pen?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I've got one. It's cool. One sec, guys.
He's gonna fetch one anyway. He looks royally pissed right now because we interrupted him. He was doing armor configuration on Halo Reach. Now that looks like a fun thing to do. Ah!
Thanks, Ian.
That's a Sharpie!
Shut up!
Okay, so what we're gonna play is I'm gonna give Noah 3 headlines, and Noah has to guess which one of them is real. 2 of them will be fake, 1 of them will be real, and you have to guess.
Like your mom.
Oh my gosh. I hope you didn't hear him, listeners.
Okay, ready? Ready, Noah?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so. Okay, so the first set of 3. You have to guess which of these is real. Monkey selfie drives copyright lawyers bananas.
Oh my gosh.
Japanese inventor beats world record for bicycle seats with invention of octocycle.
They're
Or-
all into tentacles.
Or China deems goat simulator inappropriate, places ban.
Alright, so I'm going to go with the Japan one, with the octocycle. That's gonna be
Nope,
the real
nope,
one.
you are wrong. The correct answer is monkey selfie drives copyright lawyers bananas. That is an actual headline that I read on USA Today last night.
What? And, alright, so should we pull up the page on it?
No, it's fine right now. I'll tell you what it was about. It was, I haven't actually read the articles for any of these other than that one because I was just so confused. Apparently, a British photographer went to the African jungle, set up his cameras, and got the monkeys to take selfies of themselves, and the selfies became so iconic that a bunch of copyright lawyers in Britain got into a tizzy about who owned the copyright to the monkey.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. Tizzy,
Yeah.
you say tizzy, you say
They're
about...
British.
You're not British, though. You are not British, Judd. No matter how much you want it, you are not British.
Noah, stop making his dreams not a reality.
I speak
You're
American.
being a dick.
Anyhow,
Just
Okay.
calling you out.
next one. Okay, which of these is real? Largest genital structure in history finished in New Hampshire.
Is it
West Virginia crash spills chickens, AK-47, pot, and fireworks. Or public school under attack by school board due to recent hamsters for lunch controversy.
Can you read that third one again?
I'm gonna do the one about the one with the pot and the fireworks.
Public school under attack by school board due to recent hamsters for lunch controversy.
Okay, I'm going to have to say that it's the one about, the real one. What was the first one again?
Largest genital sculpture in history finished in New Hampshire.
No. It's the second one. The one with the chickens in the pot.
It's
So-
always the ones with the chickens in the pot.
Alright, so I'm going to say that the third one was true.
Nope. Ian is correct. It is, in fact, West Virginia crash spills chicken, AK-47, pot, and fireworks.
Sounds like
Everybody knows.
Sounds like Gus Fring.
You know what?
His cargo spilled.
A pot in every house. A chicken in every pot. Some pot with every chicken.
So, do we want to look at this article?
Be my guest.
Alright, so
Be our guest.
I'm
Be
going
our
to-
guest.
be quiet, skeleton.
Shut up. You can't tell me what to do.
Okay, so West Virginia crash. Do you want to talk to the audience while I'm looking this up?
Hey guys, what's up? I am Judd here, and I'm gonna freestyle rap for you while we're waiting. I'm not actually gonna do that.
Yeah, please don't.
Don't worry. Actually, while you're looking that up, I'm gonna do the I'm gonna do the next 3. Okay.
Alright.
Okay. So which of these is real? Urinating in the ocean does not kill ocean life, study shows. Or man shot in drive-by shooting over Pokemon cards. Or possible map to Atlantis found in recently uncovered shipwreck.
Alright. I'm gonna say that the first one was real. That the one about piss doesn't kill sea life?
You are correct. Piss doesn't kill sea life.
Because they're living in their own piss anyway.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We did it.
Alright, so I've pulled up the West Virginia crash spills chickens AK-47 pot and fireworks article right here on NBC News.
So it was one SUV that had a jar of marijuana, an AK-47, 40 chickens, a dog, a large load of ammunition, and altered fireworks.
Dude, it's like North Korea.
40 how do you keep 40 chickens and a dog in the same car?
They were all
40
stoned.
chickens and a dog.
Was it like a countdown? You're racing before you run out of all your chickens?
I bet that's why he crashed.
He's playing Mario Kart.
Motherfucker.
It's Luigi Death Stare.
I get it.
Okay. Which of the... Where... Okay, wait.
You
I lost
confused?
I lost one of my papers.
Oh no, he lost his papers. Papers, please. I'm sorry, sir. We're going to... You have been selected.
I can't do the rest of this segment if I don't have that piece of paper. Hold on.
You've been selected for
What
a
piece of
random search.
paper? Wait, what piece of paper?
The piece of paper that you took. Alright. So, while he's looking for his paper,
Okay, I found it.
he found it.
Okay,
Good job, Ian. Good job, Judd. You did
Okay. Alright, Noah, which of these is the real headline? Kim Jong-un publicly declares Canada a myth.
Keep going.
Vince Gilligan announces new Breaking Bad sequel entitled Yeah Bitch.
Okay.
Or serial flamingo bomber strikes again.
Serial flamingo bomber, that's a real problem that we have.
I'm going to say the first one was the real one, just because I'm way up to date with the with Vince Gilligan, and flamingo bomber sounds interesting, but it sounds too
Is
interesting.
that like a flamboyant gay guy who like bombs people?
Well, in reality, it was in fact the flamingo bomber.
Really?
Yeah, the flamingo bombers are, and I read that one too. It's just a guy who.
ISIS?
No, no, it's not like ISIS. I don't even know why they call it a flamingo bomber. All he lives in like Pennsylvania, I think, and literally it's just he goes around and puts pink flamingo statues in people's yards.
That's why they call him
Oh,
the
it's like
flamingo
yard bombers.
bomber.
There it is. There's the NBC News article. Serial flamingo bomber strikes again.
Why are we making such a big deal out of this again?
I like how they say.
That's a really good question. I don't know.
I like how they. I like how they say serial flamingo bomber. Like,
Dude, it's like he's raped without.
oops. Oops, I accidentally did that.
All right. Which of these three headlines is real? Bambi wants booze. Deer races through liquor store. Drug study shows Netflix more addictive than cocaine. Or Bestiality Alliance recognizes dinosaur erotica.
The deer
Okay,
ran through the
I know that one of them the third one was fake, just because we were talking about
can
that last night.
That's a real thing, by the way. Look it up.
On
Can I
Amazon,
put-
there's a whole subgenre of dinosaur erotica.
Which I think is something I'm going to want to get into.
I think it's the one with.
I'm just kidding. I don't want to do that.
Bitch. I think it's the one with the deer and the alcohol.
What was the second one again? Both of them sounded
Uh,
at least a little credible.
drug study shows Netflix more addictive than cocaine.
I am actually going to go with the second one.
Okay, you're wrong. It's deer, and I saw the video.
Yeah,
It's
fuck you.
it's a deer in a liquor
That
store.
one seemed
But-
too boring.
But I'm telling you what, Netflix is more addictive than cocaine. I'm gonna tell you, and I would really like for some college to get on that research as soon as you possibly can.
I would also like for Netflix to put Monk back on, because I want to rewatch that.
Yeah.
I'll put the ending to King of the Hill.
Okay, and the last set. Architect proposes Richard Nixon addition to Mount Rushmore. As blue whale carcass rots, Canadian beach residents fear blubber blast.
What the fuck is that?
Or teachers suspended for kindergarten sex ed class.
Kindergarten sex ed, I'm calling it right now.
Okay, I'm gonna agree with the skeleton in the closet. Okay.
It's the blubber blast.
No.
Fuck.
Is Canada even real? I'm agreeing with your fake article about Kim Jong-un right now. One time he's been right. I declare Canada not real. It's uninhabited.
I'm gonna need you to Google that actually, because I didn't have enough time to check
Google
what the fuck
blubber
that was
blast.
about. But yes, what is the blubber blast?
Canada blubber blast.
that sounds like, I don't even know what it sounds like. Blubber has 2 B's.
Be quiet.
Yeah,
I'm
faggot.
I'm
Get your
best.
spelling right.
I'm in high school. I know how to spell.
Fuck you.
Alright,
Silence.
so blue whale rots on Canadian beach.
Yes, this is the one.
Locals fear blubber blast. You
I
wanna-
feel like this is gonna be dishonored, but only with Canadians.
Dishonored.
It's a whale of a problem. I'm quoting from
Shut up.
NBC News. A tiny Canadian town is trying to figure out how to dispose of the 81-foot-long carcass of a cetacean that washed up on the beach and is swelling up. They're wondering if it may explode.
It's the
Dude, it's
serial
not
whale
terrorists.
bomber.
Okay, that's
Serial
just...
whale bomber.
All right, Canada, I'm calling your bullshit.
Alright, Canada that doesn't exist, I'm calling your bullshit.
Okay, and as another fun Easter egg for Multiversal Ooze, we actually have prepared a couple of ridiculous news stories that are actually real and that we actually have the articles for.
When are we getting to the children rape?
What? There's...
Please stop.
We won't. Let me tell you right now, we won't.
We
Is
will
that
not-
in
we will
season
not.
2?
Fuck off!
Go away.
No, I'm here.
Go back in the closet.
Fuck you.
Alright, so... Jeez, sorry, that was probably audio terror right there.
Sorry, our audio equipment is not the best,
This is a setup
but we're
with
making do.
two boxes on top of each other. I'm having to hold one with a headset that has a mic on it, and the mic is pointed towards us.
It's like one of those Xbox headsets.
Yeah, it's like one of those. It's a better quality one, but it looks like one of those Xbox headsets. Apparently, we are speaking into the left side right now. Oh, by the way, you wanna give me a second? I gotta.
What?
You wanted to talk about the articles that we have gotten together?
Yeah. While you're pulling up yours, I'll start mine. The headline I found is, "Oh Canada, hitchhiking robot reaches halfway point." Hitchbot, the hitchhiking robot, created by Canadian artists in a social experiment, has now hitchhiked halfway across Canada in its bid to go coast to coast. Hitchbot must rely only on human strangers in his 3,870-mile journey to an art gallery in Victoria, British Columbia. It is part of a social experiment determining whether strangers are nice enough to pick up actual hitchhikers, or at least to see if they're nice enough not to steal the robot's parts.
Ha!
Alright.
Alright, you pull yours up.
Okay, he's going to have to go do something. I am going to... I don't have very much in the way of stuff to talk about. I
found lots, so
yeah,
don't worry.
he found a lot. I only have, like, this one page, but I have sources for everything. Alright. I've got it our skeleton in the closet is currently here with us.
I'm taking the place of Judd.
We have the Judd in the closet right now. He's in the closet.
Judd's actually out of the closet.
Judd's out of the inside closet. Alright, so we're going to... Since you're here, let me hear your opinion on this. About how a comedian, Adam Mills, challenged the Westboro Baptist Church that instead of picketing Robin Williams, his funeral, they should instead go to ISIS, go over there in Iraq and cause problems for them.
Ha, get fucked.
He said that he would pay completely for their tickets, and they said that they would go if he pays for the tickets.
Seriously?
Yes, so now everybody's waiting for, and maybe by the time this podcast
can we
comes
send
out,
him an email and ask if that's like a one-way ticket thing?
it should be. Leave them over in Iraq with ISIS. Alright, so he's
To the surprise of absolutely no one, the neighborly Westboro Baptist Church announced that it would protest at the funeral of Robin Williams.
he's quoting right now. Didn't you also hear that when somebody from the Westboro Baptist Church
They
died,
requested that nobody picket his funeral.
and nobody did?
Nobody picketed?
I don't believe so.
Well,
No,
God bless everybody
was
who isn't in the Westboro Baptist
everybody
Church.
was actually pretty, like, they said, what I've heard is, sorry for your loss.
And then there's the other people who are like, why are you guys such big dicks to everyone?
But nobody picketed.
That's a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing people
I
aren't
might be
asses
wrong.
to asses. And if anyone here is of the Westboro Baptist Church, don't worry. We're saying this all in joke. Westboro Baptist.
Yeah, you guys are totally asses.
Yeah, you kind of are.
Yeah, you guys are dicks.
You heard it here first, guys. The skeleton in the closet thinks the Westboro Baptist Church are dicks.
You've seen what their webpage name is, right?
What?
GodHatesFags.com, I believe.
Really? That's the name? Not WestboroBaptistChurch.org?
Yeah, let me pull it up.
They have a wiki.
Panic at the Disco?
It is!
GodHatesFags.com.
Dude, let's go to their
That's
homepage.
Their symbol is a rainbow! What the fuck?
Yeah, it's a cross with a rainbow in front of it.
It's very pretty.
Ooh.
Go there. Click on it. I gotta see this.
It's got 1.5 stars.
I bet you.
Alright. So, what is this? What am I
America
looking
is doomed. Oh, shit.
at?
Have they got a podcast?
Are they video news? Sign movie. Are we gonna get is this gonna be copyright infringement looking at their website?
No, what the hell are they gonna do? Come to our house and say God hates fags? That's literally nothing.
They'll picket our funeral.
Alright.
Honestly, I don't even know if I can't care if people picket at my funeral, because even and I won't get into religion,
Well,
but
you'll be dead.
even with the
That's
fact
true.
that I believe in going to heaven, it won't matter to me. If I'm up in heaven, I'll just look down and say, whatever. It's not
Those
like
people have no free time.
it's not like I planned on going.
Oh my god.
Maybe I didn't want to go to heaven.
Okay, how's this one? How's this for weird news? 92-year-old Francis Evans, a World War II veteran, is declared dead by the United States federal government. The catch is, old Franny is very much alive and is fighting against the feds for her retirement funds, which have been cut off.
Wow.
Except she finds the whole situation very funny, which it is. Franny, we love you. But you're not dead, and they think you are, which is freaking hilarious.
That's just they want you to think.
Are you sure that they didn't just declare her dead so that way they didn't have to pay her? Because
Ian's got a conspiracy theory.
fuck you.
Ooh. Ooh.
Hey, when are we eating? Because I'm hungry and I want to take all your food.
Alright. So, I'm looking at something. Tree huggers apparently attempted new world record. In a bid to set a new world record, a total of 2,001 people, like 2001. I had to clarify that. Mostly students hugged trees on the outskirts of Nepal's capital. Can you please pronounce that for me? I don't want to offend Nepal.
Kathmandu, I believe.
Kathmandu, Cthulhu.
Shout out to Nepal.
Wow.
Their capital, Cthulhu, for about 2 minutes.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say New World Order, and I was kind of scared.
Tree huggers, New World Order.
And as our last little bit, so a 12-year-old boy in Montgomery, Alabama, he was playing hide and seek with, some friends, and he went into an abandoned house, and he found the former homeowner, hanging in the closet.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, childhood trauma. That, Montgomery?
Best part is, the coroner looked at the body, been dead for 5 years.
4.
It says over 4.
Well, it would have said 5 if it was 5.
I paraphrased
Alright,
this.
so-
These are my words.
Fuck
That
you.
kid is never going to forget that, is he?
Never.
Dude, imagine going into a house and you're like, hey, I'm gonna hide from my friends. And then you, like, bump into a closet door, it opens, and you see some dead guy hanging there.
But
That'd be super fucking creepy.
Is this Halloween? Is this one of those props?
this is the worst part, though. This guy has been dead in that closet for 5 years. This is not like him finding, like, a guy that kind of looked dead, but, like, kind of like a sleeping guy hanging in. This was not someone who killed himself the other day. This was doubtlessly, like, a rotting corpse. In fact, the headline is, Boy Finds Mummy Hanging in Abandoned House. This kid is never gonna sleep. Like, ever.
How did no one
What if
know
he
that
just-
this guy killed himself? Did he have, like, no
Well,
friends?
According to the article, he was a convict who had just been let out, and he was moving into his house, and he was like in the process of moving into his house. He had no family or friends, and there was no furniture in the house because he killed himself upon moving in. So it was just like an empty house. So everybody just assumed it was abandoned. There was no furniture, nobody living in there, nobody knew. So just for 5 years, he was hanging in his closet.
What
I've
about
heard,
parole?
I've heard stories. I've heard a similar story once about somebody who died and nobody knew until I believe somebody came by for tax or debt, and they were coming in to make him pay because he wasn't paying his bills, and then they find out that he's dead.
Jeez.
He was. What happens to all that? If you're paying your mortgage and then you die, what happens to the money that you still own? Doesn't it go on to relatives?
That's a good
Well,
question. I don't remember.
If you don't have a will, then, you know...
I believe it. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it does go on to relatives, and that's
And
not
then they
something
have
you
to
want to
pay your
leave on them.
mortgage.
Alright, so I am going to... I found something really interesting. It's this artist. His name is Don Ken, and this is the part where I mentioned we might mention Cthulhu.
Go on. I'm listening. I'm a huge Lovecraft fan, by the way.
He draws, I believe it's either pencil or pen, but he draws these pictures that he calls them that he's drawing pictures of what he thinks of as his childhood nightmares. So they're unsettling, and they include monsters in them. But the thing is, he draws them on Post-it notes.
That's great, actually. That's really... Pull one up. Can we include a link to this?
I've got all the links anyway. So.
We may actually just show a photo.
His name is Don Ken.
Dude, holy shit.
Yeah, this is on a Post-it note right here.
That's a Post-it note? You're sure it's not an
That's
index
a pretty,
card?
That's a pretty long Post-it note.
It might be like a bigger Post-it note, but these are Post-it notes right here.
That
Dude,
is
This
incredible.
is super creepy. I mean, that guy just accomplished something that, it's a bunch of penis monsters.
Be quiet.
We will include a link. This is Don. Oh my goodness, Lordy! I think I'm coming down with a case of the vapors.
Dude, it's like, those things.
And if I keep
Oh,
going,
that's not that scary. That's alright.
that one weird
Oh.
thing in here is that the people just seem to not give a fuck at all.
Like, that little boy's just staring at, like, the dead ghost of 3 little girls. Like, he doesn't even give
We
a
will
shit.
include a link to Don
look
Ken's
look
Imgur.
how bored she looks in that boat. She's like, not them again.
Yeah, oh my lordy, my lordy. Yes, we will include a link to this blog. This is very, very impressive. Shout out to Don Ken. This is
on-
incredible.
This is on Imgur. These are posts on Imgur.
Oh,
All right, so
Hold me closer,
I
Ian.
will.
No,
will,
I don't really want to.
I'll get to.
It's a clown.
It's a
Oh,
clown.
it's a clown with a
holding
black
out
with a
a
spider.
And this kid, he's got his eyebrow raised. Like, what the fuck is
Oh,
that?
Oh, that's not that
that's
scary.
awful.
Anyway,
Oh.
I'll get to the part that has.
Oh, what? Wait, what? Go
Cthulhu.
back, no.
These
That
these
actually
are
looks kind of funny.
these are terrifying.
That
I mean,
one is
terrifying. They're very, very incredible and very, very talented, but they are mother freaking terrifying.
Jesus fucking Christ. Use your talents for something else other than killing
No.
people.
This is perfect. Don Ken never
There, look at that.
gorgeous.
We're
It's
looking
Cthulhu.
at the one
It's
with,
so
that has
majestic.
Cthulhu. Anyway, that's not all I wanted to talk about him, because I found something where people put captions on his pictures.
Oh my god.
I'll have to link this too, but I'll just scroll through these.
My doctor's...
I guess this might be a quiet moment. So I'll just keep scrolling through these.
Oh my. Okay. Yeah, we will definitely
Yeah, we'll
link to
is
these.
funny.
They're very funny. John Ken. Is it John Ken or Don Ken?
I believe his full name is John, but a lot of he's known sometimes as Don. I will, if I can find a website. If he has a website, I will definitely post that in the links.
All right. Well, shout out to John Ken. These are incredible. Congratulations. This is very, very good. And we will post a link to these.
Like we're one to criticize.
Well, no, we are never in the place to criticize.
We don't even
All right.
have close to
This picture
town.
is a boy bathing naked in a river, and there's like a deer-looking monster, and the boy says, "Oh, hi there," and the monster says, "Hey there, buddy. Doing some skinny dipping?"
Oh, this
Yes.
is rape.
So you're naked, right? Yeah. What do you look? What do you look like? What? How big are you? How big? Down there. What? I won't describe it to me. Okay, that's not okay. But John Ken, these are
There are
very.
some funnier ones. Scroll up.
They are very good pictures.
This one's kind of funny.
Is that Bob Dylan? I think it is. Guys, check it out. It's Bob fucking Dylan.
No way. I met Kurt Cobain once. Ask him to come over here.
Okay.
These are like ghost-like creatures. All right, so we can look through these later.
But these are really these are really good pictures. We will link to these. These are hilarious, and you will like them very much.
Yeah, and also shout out to the person who did the. Wait, you sure you want to do that? 'Cause,
Oh, if you have something else, go be my guest.
all right, so I also have. You heard of Funny or Die?
I've heard of it.
Vin Diesel, when he did the ice bucket challenge, which I'm not really a fan of, but I won't get into that. But when he did it, he challenged Vladimir Putin, and Funny or Die came out with this article pretending to be a letter from Vladimir Putin back to Vin Diesel.
Oh yeah, and just so
Thank you,
guys,
Comrade Vin Diesel, for your ice bucket challenge. On our opinion of the world challenge differs. I have a few ice bucket challenge alterations before I can accept. First, dumping a bucket of ice on my head is not difficult. On holiday at the age of 9, I removed all of my own nerve endings with a pair of pliers, so now I don't feel cold. In fact, I don't feel anything. Perhaps we can replace with a large bucket of rabid tigers? I just a thought. We won't read the rest, but
I'll link
the
that
picture for this
as well.
is Putin swimming through a river.
Swimming.
it's because Vladimir Putin's a badass, in case
Or-
anybody didn't know that.
But he's also making problems for people.
And he's also the reincarnated form of
I want to.
Joseph Stalin.
Here's
Jesus.
something that I found.
Jesus.
That's a bit different. Basically, they grew this in a plastic mold.
It's a pumpkin.
It's a pumpkin that's grown to look like a head because it was grown in a plastic mold. I don't really understand what I'm looking at right here.
I
We're
think
gonna
that's
have a
supposed to
link
be like
to-
Frankenstein or
It's
something.
the posting pictures is inconvenient on an audio only podcast, but we will definitely do a link dump so that you guys can see all of these pictures we're looking at. And with any luck, we might. And now I'm not promising this, guys, so don't go looking for this. And if you don't see it, I make no promises. But we might be able to post this on YouTube, and if so, we will post these. Oh Lord.
We'll put that in the link too.
It's a video. It's a Tumblr GIF.
No, it's a GIF, and GIFs are not limited to just Tumblr.
Fine.
So basically, it's some guy trying to do one of those things at like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and he's like holding one hand up. So one guy comes over and he's like, "Fuck you," and then he flips him over and runs away.
Yeah, some guy's trying to, I guess, photobomb this woman's picture of the Leaning Tower of Pisa by holding his hand.
No, they're a couple.
Oh.
And he's trying to lift the.
And then he
Leaning
starts
Tower of
running
Pisa.
after the guy at the end of the gift.
It's
Look,
very funny.
It's Superman jump. Anyway, we'll link that too.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have a link dump so that you guys can see all of these, and they're very funny.
All right. All right. So, what are we talking about now, Judd?
Alright, guys, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go and play Dick Sucking Simulator 2012.
All right. Bye. He's playing Halo Reach, by the way.
No, I'm not. I'm actually gonna turn that off.
Oh.
So we had a great laugh and all, but here on Into the Multiverse, we like to just talk about stuff, and some of those things happen to be very serious things. So, we both brought a little bit of,
Are we not going to talk about
I'm
the
not-
journalist?
That's ISIS.
we
and
do have,
I didn't really find much on ISIS because I tried to look it up and there's not a lot of information out there. So all I know was there's a journalist and he was captured by ISIS.
this journalist, James Foley.
If I'm not mistaken,
Him
it
and
was for
some other
2
guy.
years and then they posted a video of him dying,
Yeah, they
executed.
ISIS posted an execution video of James Foley. Our hearts go out to the Foley family. It's a terrible story, and it's definitely it's a symbolization of how ISIS is in no way justified in what they're doing. I mean, this is no just and virtuous community is going to do something so vile.
There's a quote. I don't know if they can hear me that well, but in the video, the guy who beheads James Foley is like any attack, like air attack against like Iraq or Iran, like an Islamic country, is basically an attack towards them. And anytime Barack Obama orders a airstrike against one of those countries, they'll kill another hostage.
James Foley was the very first. I'm quite certain James Foley was the first American civilian to be killed as a result of ISIS's violence, and so this is clearly the start of something that, unfortunately, is probably going to gain momentum.
I'm not sure if it would hurt any more or any less. Did they know that he was alive? Because I would figure if the journalist was gone for 2 years, they wouldn't know if he was alive or not after being.
Well,
Did they say that he was a hostage?
No, they didn't. They didn't really say anything.
All right, so then, do you think that the family might have moved on and considered that he may possibly have been dead, and then this coming up probably
because there was a translator and James Foley when they got captured. They were walking out some internet cafe. ISIS stopped them, took them hostage, and released the translator. And the translator ran away. And he was like, "Yo, dogs, this guy got captured," and then,
All right, so sorry if you guys can't hear Ian that well.
tell him what I just said.
Basically what he said was that the translator that was with the journalist,
James Foley,
just went back and told the people that he worked for and his family that he had been kidnapped. But would you, after 2 years, maybe start having some doubts as to whether he was alive or not?
but having it confirmed to your face by something as villainous as ISIS that James Foley is in fact dead.
That's what I was getting to.
I mean,
the fact that he was still alive up until that point had to hurt a lot. That had to be awful.
It's a terrible, terrible tragedy, and it just shows that at least I don't know about Noah, but I am no condoner of violence, but I definitely think something needs to be done about this. I mean, this is clearly a terrible, terrible tragedy, and it shows the terrible things that ISIS is capable of and that ISIS is willing to do. The Islamic State is, this is a terrible thing, and it's clearly not something that we can let happen to American citizens or to citizens of Iraq and Syria and other Middle Eastern nations that ISIS and the IS and the other Islamic militant communities are oppressing.
Now, I don't know much about how the CIA works just because, that's all kept secret, but shouldn't there at least be somebody, maybe, from the CIA who could have been already infiltrated? I'm not sure. But I just believe that maybe that something that could be done, since they are saying that if Obama actively announces an attack, that they will execute something else. They obviously have to, if they are going to do something, do it in secret. And then that brings up a bunch of red tape with the UN in those relations.
We keep the peace.
But we are, I mean, our hearts go out to the Foley family. God bless James Foley and all that he did. But we are not specifically talking about ISIS today. Today we are going to mention the sorry.
Audio atrocity right there as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, why is that so like
Fragile. I don't know.
no? I'm like,
It's
oh,
probably because of that.
try flipping it over.
We are experiencing technical difficulties right now that we are trying to fix.
Try that. Is that any better? We'll work on this audio and it'll get better and better, hopefully. But right now it's a little bad. Today we're going to be talking about Ferguson, Missouri. It's been 13 days since Michael Brown, an unarmed black teenager in Ferguson, Missouri, was shot and killed by a white Ferguson police officer whose name was released recently, Darren Wilson. The shooting has incited protests by day and riots by night in Ferguson and has sparked racial unrest throughout America and the world. But the question remains, is the shooting in Missouri a concern of racism, one of police brutality, or merely one of self-defense? According to reports out of Ferguson, Michael Brown physically assaulted Darren Wilson, and it is claimed by some that Wilson was acting only out of self-defense. Other witness accounts claim Wilson fired out of aggression, and Brown was unlawfully shot.
I don't know much
I
about
bet
this
you I
story
can name-
specifically, but I was reading up on something else about how we should have cameras on police officers, not only just to prevent police brutality so we know exactly what goes on, but also to prevent police officers from being falsely accused in some cases where they would have to disobey the rules, but if they disobey the rules they lose their job. If we had camera of that there was nothing else they could do in that situation, then it wouldn't be an automatic firing, if I'm not mistaken.
That's an interesting idea. And so, one of the main concerns of this Ferguson, Missouri case is this an issue of race, or is it not an issue of race? And, well, what I think is that people want to see this as an issue of race, and that sounds bad. But I think that people want to see this as an issue of race because this is a crisis in the American South. There are deep-seated racial issues. This is not a peaceful place, and I think people kind of want to see a racial issue arise because it brings the issue to the forefront. And I think people want to make this about race because they want it to be. I run the risk of sounding racist, and that's not at all what I mean. But, people want this to be another example of the white man distrusting the black man and a violent killing occurring as the white man's fault.
Yeah, there are a lot of stereotypes where, and this gets annoying sometimes, where white people are racist all the time. And that's not necessarily true. Obviously, that isn't true at all.
Wait. What's your brothers and stuff upstairs?
So, this is really more a concern of physical violence than of race. I mean, people are overlooking the fact that Michael Brown was, first of all, not alone. It was two guys, and Darren Wilson was alone. It was one police officer against two individuals who physically assaulted him. He was acting out of self-defense. Now, granted, perhaps he was more aggressive than he should have been, but this really can't be looked at as an issue of race, first and foremost. This, if anything, is an issue of we need policies in place to avoid police brutality.
And that's what I'm talking about getting cameras. Because if you have cameras, they can't say that it might have been out of self-defense, or they can't say that it was actually a very violent thing when it wasn't, when it was out of self-defense. So either side can't claim anything if we have cameras on police officers. Also, police officers, that's a very underpaid job.
Yes, it is.
I would say that's something that we should probably put more money into. That and teachers. Public services and teachers are very underpaid.
Yes, they definitely are. And a grand jury in Ferguson has begun hearing evidence in the case and is slated to produce a verdict sometime in mid-October. We will probably be reporting on that, but I do think that, a lasting thought for this case is to remember that this you can't call this a case of race before calling it a case of violence. Violence is much more relevant. Well, I believe that's
That's a wrap.
episode 1 of Into the Multiverse. Thank you all for watching or for listening. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to be back as soon as we possibly can. Any lasting comments for you, Ian or Noah?
I'm hungry as fuck. I want to go eat right now.
Yeah,
All right,
do
we're gonna
Hey,
do that.
Hey,
Alright,
talk.
so this
Hey.
is...
hey, I want to talk.
Go then.
I want you guys to know that I love you. I love you from the bottom of my heart.
We thank
Alright,
you.
That's it. Bye. I love you.
We thank you for joining us on our voyage through police brutality, mental health concerns, Lovecraftian horrors, and more. And we hope to see you on our next journey into the multiverse.
Yeah.
Goodbye.